Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to BeoTalk 291.
Wow,
With a
nine more
nice
to go.
forehead, Willie.
I know. Put it this way, like that. 5, 6. There we go. Let me focus on me. I think the camera's doing just as well as I am right now. Oh my god.
That's alright, we'll survive. What do we do again?
Do your shilling. Let's give a shout out to Skinny Play as usual.
Yeah, go buy covers at Skinny Play. They make stuff for a lot of things. Get 10% off with the promo code. Come join our Discord. We're nearly at 1,000, I think.
Mm.
Let's
Or
see.
even better yet, just buy some B&O
That
before
too.
another price increase.
Yeah, it's probably around the corner.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Apparently, BLA Bates won't be touched this year, so we'll see.
Good.
I don't think they should be touched.
No.
So
So we're at like 960 members or so.
nice.
Sweet. Also, if we get to 1,000 members on Discord, the Discord becomes publicly searchable on Google and stuff,
Nice.
which is a nice perk. So thank you for all the Discord channel boosters and that sort of thing. Uh, and also, if you're in Europe, buy your cables at Steve, obviously,
That's it.
because why not? I haven't given Steve a shout out in forever.
Yeah. Where is this?
If you're wondering how to get Steve's cables currently to the US, I think you have to order them from here, ship them to like a drop shipping place, and they'll ship it to you. But currently, due to circumstances, the tax forms and that sort of crap takes way too much time for him.
Yeah, it's a pain sometimes to ship to be to US from Europe. But the weird thing is that if you ship from Europe to well Canada for me, it is 3 times faster than going the other way.
Yeah, same. It's
I don't
also
understand.
2x as expensive from here to Europe as from Europe to here.
Hmm.
I shipped my sister and my niece something, and it was like a box like this size, right? Like,
Yeah,
God, that was
30 bucks.
80.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too much. But that's just where we're at now.
And there were some like cuddly toys and books, that sort of thing, because my niece is like 4. And they still had to pay import charges on that sort of stuff, even though it was a gift.
So you saying it's a gift in a customs declaration means nothing now.
Essentially.
Right on.
So, yeah. Yeah. Jolly. Anyway, how was your week been?
Busy, man. Been all over the place. Yesterday we decided to go for dinner. And my girlfriend booked tickets to this event. It's like a VR event. So you wear the glasses and this vest with like a bass driver on it. So it bass, you get the bass feeling and whatever. But it was basically a documentary made by Darren Emerson. I don't know if you know that name. He's a DJ from, I guess, formerly known as Underworld.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so he produced this basically a document about how the techno parties and the raves and all that crazy shit was back in the 80s and 90s in London. How people it was freaking cool, man. It
A
was
lot
like a
of glow
half an hour
sticks.
presentation. Fuck, you had the virtual hands, and yeah, there was a point of time when you had the glow stick and a glowing bracelet, and you could go all messed up. Which is funny because after a few minutes being in that space in your head, you kind of forget that you're still just a doorknob standing in the middle of a fucking room waving your shit around. But you don't see that. But yeah, it was a pretty good event. Lots of fun. But then we decided we're not done having fun. So I don't remember when I got home, but I presume it was around 4 in the morning from the last photograph that she took of me taking a piss in the alley for some reason. But yeah, it was a pretty heavy Friday. or Saturday, I guess, because Friday I didn't really do much. I had to work on Saturday. So yeah, it was. I don't even know how the days are going anymore, to be honest. But yeah, the work's picking up. Our BeoConnect Core got delayed, so we still don't have it in the store. Most likely we won't till I think April 16, which is kind of sad. And yeah, I'm quite excited to see it and play with it a little bit because you know it's obviously new gear, new product, new something, new problems, more or less. I'm sure.
Like this thing, you mean?
Yeah, like this thing. You keep it shiny, bro.
It is shiny. It's very hard to do anything other with it. It. Like I said last week, right? It's very
Yeah,
much an Apple product.
it
It's
is. It looks like a Mac Uber Mini,
yeah,
like a Mac Micro. Because
and
you got
this
a
almost
Mac
looks
Mini.
like this could be vase amounts of some sort.
Yeah, the funny thing is that these screws are only for the feet.
Yeah,
There's another set of screws below them which actually take the plate out, which reveals the board. But yeah, I'm very excited about it. I want to see how it. I want to hear it, man. I really want to hear it. I want to do an A to B comparison between. We're gonna pull the core off the shape and put it on Lab 18s and just put that and that and see what the A to B is. How much better it gotten.
I wish I could have played around it a bit more this week, but I had a migraine week.
Yeah, I heard. You better now.
Almost. Uh, the missus is pretty sure I popped my eardrum in the meantime as well.
How the fuck do you do that?
Uh, Pressure, just happenstance. You know, in a plane when you like
50s.
when you like do that, right? Like to
Yeah,
blowing
to
your.
pop your. Yeah,
If I do that, my right ear literally audibly whistles.
that's weird.
So, and
Like
not
a
just to me, right? Like
teapot whistle.
to other people. No, it's more like a
That's weird, man. So you rupture your eardrum.
probably.
Fuck, might as well sell the 50s, bro. What's the point?
No, my left ear still works. I mean, fortunately, when I have migraines, like, I can still bear noise 90% of the time, but like any
Mm,
sort of light was horrific
yeah.
to the point where you kind of have to like live in the dark in the dark, and the dark is not dark enough, right? Like with your eyes closed.
I'm so glad that I don't have that issue, man, because my ex-wife had migraines, and it absolutely, like, that's one of the most debilitating thing that you can have happen to you because you can't do shit about it,
Yeah, I was essentially
really.
bedridden for like a good 36 hours, and then
Yeah,
like up until last night, more or less, I was just in permanent pain.
that's no fun.
I mean, and now it's a bit better, but now I feel like I have a fucking cold going on. But it could also be all the pollen because, Jesus, the amount of pollen here is crazy.
You allergic to that?
I have some hay fever, but it's not as. To put it this way, right? For the amount of pollen that is around here, I would be like bedridden in Europe.
Really?
Yeah, but here, like, there's so much, like, you can literally bunch it up on the side of the road.
Fuck. It's all that Monsanto shit.
It's crazy.
It's like Monsanto pollen.
So, yeah, I was fairly bedridden, and God, it's awful.
Oh,
I
fuck.
don't get them off often, like maybe once every 2 years or something, but
Yeah.
it's
Lauritz, rest assured, we're gonna make an A to B comparison on the shape as well. It's not really need to even be an A to B comparison because I'm just gonna put the core in it and take the old one out because we've heard that core for now. I've been listening to it for a year and a half since I've been there in the shop. But yeah, I'm very excited about that. I'm gonna try and do a BioLab 19 with the old core and a shape like we had, and then new core with the Lab 19 and a shape.
oh, you'll hear the difference.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's not even close. I mean, again, this is one of these things where you probably won't notice if it's in a vacuum, right? If you can't A/B test, because you get used to how things sound.
Yes.
Uh, so But if you have a choice and you can A/B listen to either, like I don't think anybody would really choose the old core again.
No, and I'm already scoping out on Amazon USB-C to USB-B. Fucking what connector is that, man? But I'm gonna try and stuff it into the 50s as well when we get to core.
I mean, what I mostly like is that little port, the HDMI,
Mm.
because that makes it essentially a B&O approved any TV works kind of deal,
Mm-hmm.
which is really rather lovely. Because so many people still do that, like, to the point where, like, if you go on the non Bio nutter places like Reddit or whatever, right? The amount of people that just buy a panel and 28s and call it a day, that
Mm-hmm.
have no real good reason to connect them to it. I mean, and then you start dealing with like the Wysa sound sender, that sort of thing, or the LG Wysa stick, and with
It's goofy.
varying.
It works, but that's it's a band-aid project more or less, in my opinion.
Yeah, so it's. I personally like that something is fully B&O supported, but also just the presets. It's because I still have that whole Wi-Fi audio streamer, and that
Mm.
does a decent job. But like, it has no presets, right? Like it is just sort of plain out of the box, and you have to like EQ the thing to your liking. But that's kind of a search, right? Like,
Yes.
whereas this is just like, oh, what do I have? That, okay, done.
That says, will the new core make any speaker sound better or just to be a sunshade?
Yes, every speaker,
Every speaker. Every speaker.
including 50s and 90s.
That's
Which
one
is
thing
what
that
I
I'm
was
really
going
excited
to
about.
test a lot this week, but like I listened a little bit, but then was overwhelmed. And
If you get migraines, man, you can't do shit, especially not do critical listening.
so I don't have like a full opinion on it yet because
Did you get the cable?
yeah,
Okay.
I mean it's a USB-C to USB-B without the bump, and it's just USB 2.0 speeds, but that's up to 480 mbit, which is
Plenty for music.
God, that's in megabyte. That's like with losses and stuff. That's like 44 megabytes a second. Like, give me a song that has that much data,
No, you don't have any, maybe multi-channel sound, but
or even
not
streaming,
even
right?
that.
Like that would
Yeah.
mean you need a 500 down internet coming into your house that saturates it with a song. Like, it's never gonna happen.
No. No.
So, yeah, then the cables actually are, besides being hard to find because they're weird, right? They're becoming more common because of the MacBook, weirdly.
That's true because the whole Apple is switching to USB-C, so that entire ecosystem is now going to push for
Yeah, you still
USB-C
need
to
printers
anything.
because it's essentially a printer cable.
Hmm.
So they're becoming more common. The cables aren't expensive. God, I
It's a
paid.
weird choice of a connector by B&O, I would have to say. Like, why not just regular USB? Why would we have to go with this, you know, the USB B type? Is that the cable that just Jeff Martin had spare in his drawer? And, okay, let's put a connector to that. I don't understand.
It's probably a licensing thing. It's probably what
The
fits
cheapest?
well on the board. Well, also, what do you need? Also, don't forget, like, this is a design from what, 2012, essentially.
What?
The whole
Fucking
PC.
USB was around before that, bro.
Sure, but you had USB A and USB B at the time.
Fair enough.
You
Yeah,
didn't
because the
have any USB C.
USB-C never existed. Yeah, there was mini and micro USB, which I'm thank God they didn't go with that. So yeah, makes a good point.
So yeah, USB is audio out on this one. It's like it's tiny right there, but on the 50s it's USB B, the weird square one. Also, I guess with the
Input.
weird square one with the rounded corners, you can only plug it in one way, so you can't like mess it up, right?
Yeah, but you can't really plug in USB upside down either.
I've seen many people destroy their USB A type
Oh well,
connectors.
to my defense, I guess I've seen HDMI's in RJ45 ports before as well. So, and I didn't think that connector would fit, but some people really persistent.
Well, also the thing with our USB A, right? Like it's always the wrong way. Like you always go, no, that's the wrong way. No, that's the wrong way. Oh, the first one was the right way.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah, there's a good point there. But then, how often do you go into the back of your 50s to plug unplug, right? Like it's
Yeah.
just, it's one time. Hopefully, when an installer does it with gloves on, and that's it. Mm.
It's Lucas says, if you have a BSM theater, why would you need a new BeoConnect core attached to your system? Well, the thing
Because he
is,
has
you
other
wouldn't
rooms.
but you wouldn't
You,
connect it to your system. You would connect it if you have to like 50s or 90s or potentially 28s, but I would probably say only 50s or 90s
50s or 90s.
if you're the stereotype guy, right?
Hmm.
Because that deletes everything. Like Sandeep, like Guy, like they have a theater with 50s, 90s, that sort of thing, but they
But they
have
have a streamer.
third-party streamer for stereo that is only connected to the 90s. And from some digging around, right, like everybody that is been testing these is or has had their hands on it, or dealers, right? They have been
Yeah.
very surprised with the USB sound out. As in, like, it's not better than other B&O stuff. It's competitive to third-party streamers. And potentially wins because of integration.
Hmm.
I mean, you are, I don't want to say stuck, but you're with Deezer, obviously. But you still have a Tidal Connect and Spotify Connect, and like everything is a Connect version now. So you can still do that and still use
I think,
Tidal.
like in my opinion, the USB-C connection, like I guess to simplify and explain it better, would be it equates to the yesteryears of BeoSound 9000 with the Lab 5's SPDIF, because
Yes.
you bypass the DAC inside the BeoLab or BeoSound 9000 that has been around since 1996, and you basically just have that just read me zeros and ones and feed me that into the speaker, and the power link just becomes a data controller for volume information up and down, and obviously triggering them on and off. So that's how I would look at the BeoConnect Core in relationship to the 50s and 90s as far as the USB C output for audio goes, where you bypass. I understand the theater sounds great, but it still puts its own salt and pepper onto the power link out to the speaker. Where if you do a USB-C from the Core Connect directly into the back end of a 90s or 50s, it it bypasses your entire system, just like the guys have, the Lin streamers or whatever.
Well, with especially with digital B&O speakers, you do always end up with the DAC inside the speaker, right? But that's
Yes.
a very short run, and it's essentially just to drive the crossover and the amps.
Yes.
And I don't really think. Well, it's sort of, how would you say? There's not really any quality loss, and people seem to want the newest thing all the time. But sometimes when something is older and it just works, that doesn't make it bad.
That's right.
Like most likely, you like something like your grandfather's hammer will last longer than the one you buy new in the store. That's like half a pound lighter and easier to carry around and swing. So I mean, newer is newer, but not always better. Willie, did you go to Montreal Audio Fest?
I think that's what it was. It was bro. Oh, still have the thing for it. Give me a second. I'll tell you exactly. In in pursuit of repetitive beats. That's what I went to. At the trailer from the room's scale VR experience in pursuit of your, energy flash music. Blah blah blah. It was pretty cool, man. Uh, I'm actually going to contact that gallery and talk to them about maybe putting a B&O on a permanent display, because the sound systems that they have in there for a fucking uh, acoustic uh, auditorium, more or less, is just terrible. The sound was just terrible.
Hmm.
And even the presentation of some of those artists that they had like the Samsung TV leaning on shit with crappy headphones. I think that would have just looked nicer if they had a 65 or a 77-inch theater running. So I'm gonna try. We'll see how far we get. But I guess on a nerdy front, news part of our podcast, I really would like to give B&O kudos for finally waking up into a proper network infrastructure platform, where they had
Oh yeah.
finally published a document that's called Bang & Olufsen Network Recommendations. Let's see if we can do that here. Boom. I'm going to share my screen, so I'll let you adjust us as we go.
I guess we can inception ourselves.
There we go. Our faces don't matter. Just put the document on top. There we go. So, network recommendations. The following recommendation of equipment is the best practice setup for supportive Bang & Olufsen flexible and stage products. The guide doesn't cover general security settings, as these are up to individual customers, of course. Blah, 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 disclaimers, yada, yada, yada. But look at this. We recommend Dream Machine routers.
Good.
We've been crying about this for what, 5 years since the episode 1? Episode, I guess, 10, because the first few episodes were not network related. But yeah, this is absolutely outstanding. I really like this U6 Pro for the access points, or the U6 Plus, the small ones with the MIMO. Very, very, very good idea, and a very smart decision on B&O's behalf, in my opinion, to go with a solid as rock product and not overly overpriced as some of these arachnid or whatever these spiders are called and whatnot. I'm not into that. But yeah, this is where we're at. We're finally in.
Oh, they even give you bandwidth.
Yeah, they give you bandwidth
If you,
breakdowns and everything.
if you go up, like they say, to keep it at 20 megahertz bandwidth. Interesting.
That's right. Just like I always do, because then if you go wider, it's not good. It covers too many channels, and things, especially stereo paired products, might be dropping out too much.
Yeah, because they may be hopping over to a different channel or something like that.
Mm-hmm. So no, very, very happy with this decision for B&O. And even, they mentioned the meshing and all that stuff as well. So it is very, very good news. And then they go through the entire more or less advanced settings. So they give you tips on that. And I'm not gonna go through all of this. People can pause their screens and take a peek at it once we're off air and whatnot. But yeah, this is absolutely outstanding news. I know it's not much of a news, I guess, for non-nerdy people, but for me in my life and what I do for a living, it really is it is a godsend that they finally did that. I can close this now. Oof. So yeah, very, very happy with B&O this week that they finally did that.
Yeah, I can imagine. But also, it actually gives them an out if you have wireless issues. because they actually told you up front. I still think they should instruct dealers to tell potential clients, right? Like to ask. Especially if you want to stereo pair stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, it almost...
You can't run that off of a cheesy little whatever ISP provided router.
Most likely Netgear stuff will be fine, but like it's been tested with Ubiquiti, and I think that was the problem for the longest time, especially with meshing anything.
At the Playmaker era, we were with Netgear. That was the recommended equipment. And then it became... fudge, I cannot remember the name of it now. There was another company, very, 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 very pricey equipment. Fudge, I can't remember. Anyways,
I think
it'll
I know
come
what
to
you're
me.
talking about, but I'm blanking on it too.
Yeah, but they were on average 4 times the price of Ubiquiti at the time, and it would do the same. So
what I like about Ubiquiti is that it may not be the absolute fastest everywhere. It is really fucking stable.
It's the most stable network platform that I had ever ran all my equipment on, and quite honestly, I don't even have to knock on wood, but I have clients that had the Ubiquiti stuff for a decade now in their homes. Never had an issue. I had replaced a few access point antennas or antennae, whichever.
We should pull that next. What is it? Antennas or antennae?
Yeah, it's antennae. I think it's antennae. So I've replaced only 2 in my entire career, and both of them were at one house. And it was with the premise that she knew that they're going to burn because she didn't want to have them installed in the ceiling in the room, but they were in the attic under the insulation.
Yeah. And
they cooked, unfortunately. But she had no idea they even cooked. I realized they weren't online, but that was because there was 3 antennas in the house, and the one that was in the center of the home remained working. It's just the complaint started with like, when you go outside, it kind of drops out. I'm like, oh, and I come in. Oh yeah, 2 of your antennas are cooked. So, yeah, I'm very happy with B&O this week. It's great. Well, at the end of the day, if you look at it, gone are the days of Masterlink where they had an entire absolute control over their network system network infrastructure, right? Because that was its own network. It had its time and data was coming through with metadata from the BeoSound, BeoMaster 5.
Wired.
But it was all hardwired. Where now you're playing with fire every time you sell the product. And I've had clients that I was sent out to, they bought a BeoSound A5 and it just kept dropping out. And Kareem sends me out and I go and look and I'm like, fuck, I've never even seen this router. Like, dude brought a router from France to here and it fucking worked. I'm like, what in the hell, man? That's not internet. Canadian internet. I don't know. Maybe it was too much free speech on it or something and just, cut the Wi-Fi. But yeah, it's
well, Wi-Fi specs are also different between Europe and here. I mean, not
but coincidentally,
but
it's the only thing that the world has agreed on.
Yeah. But there's a lot of DFS channels that aren't allowed here that are there.
Yes.
That sort of thing. It's more so like which channels can you use and which can't you? And if your router jumps to a channel that is allowed in Europe but not here, then your US B&O products are going to go, okay, the internet's gone.
Yep.
We see sort of a vague something, there's something there, but it's not.
So, yeah, that was one of the things, it's like, oh, well, I wish there was a way to hardwire the BeoSound A5. I'm like, I don't know if you could put a USB-C to a network adapter on the back of it. I never tried.
Sure you can, but it won't be pretty.
Oh, no. But if you have it in a, sitting on a shelf somewhere, nobody sees nothing, right? Then it's kind of okay.
Why did you buy an A5?
Might as well go on with the level.
Why did you buy the thing that's portable with a battery? If you want to hardwire it and leave it in place, I guess you can, but it's kind of weird, right?
To me, it doesn't make sense, to be honest. Like, if you're gonna go with something and you want a hardwire, then get an Emerge, get a Level, get a Balance, get a BeoSound 2.
Yeah.
Get 50s Core, and you're happy for life.
Ed asks, have you had network issues
With BNO and Apple routers?
Yeah.
I cannot say that I did. No,
Eric did.
I have a long time ago, but I'm at the point where we have nobody really as clients that use Apple for their network infrastructure.
I mean, Eric used to have it, and whenever anything jumped on the 5 gigahertz, the Wi-Fi would cut.
Yeah, no, I never had.
I mean, they are super old, but I also think that in sort of isolated testing environments, if I remember correctly, they kind of realized that Apple was able to like go over the spec of what was allowed because it knew when it was tested versus when it wasn't, and then it was great for connectivity, right? But only with other Apple stuff.
Was that co-developed with Volkswagen? Shit, like come on.
Yeah, it ran on diesel too.
Oh boy. So yeah.
So
no, I don't have the issues with the Apple, but Apple is antiquated. We honestly, at this point, the only issue that I have with the Apple is where do we fit that in the recycling bin? Because we do pull a lot of them out from people's places. All these, what is it, the AirPod Extremes or whatever, these domey looking like 4 times stack of an Apple TV height. Yeah, that's all old stuff. But
still quite a big secondhand market for that, weirdly.
Yeah.
Like, for some reason, people still love those things.
I don't know what you would use that for nowadays, especially if you have access to because there's no Wi-Fi 6 on it or any of those crazy speeds that you can achieve with a new product.
I mean, but, how many products do you have that have Wi-Fi 6? Probably just
my
your phone. Yeah.
Because it says it's Wi-Fi 6, bro. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you get Wi-Fi 6. If you got a crappy connection coming into your house, it's just still going to be that much,
Yeah, that's what always sort of boggles my mind, right? Like, especially here in North America. I can get 5, 10, whatever gigabits over Wi-Fi now. And it's like, unless you're have a massive file server in your house somewhere,
what do you
where
need
you're
that for?
editing off of it or something,
But that you know what, that became the bragging rights of the yesteryears of how much music do you have pirated on your hard drive. That's basically the comparison that I could make with that, because it's nonsensical.
Yeah.
It's nonsensical. Why do I have 7 gigs of music that I just got it for so I can say that I have the entire Metallica collection? I don't even listen to them. And it's the same, I think, with this, that people just oh yeah, my internet's so much faster. I'm like, but at the end of the day, bro, it's still, your Netflix sucks because there is only so much that you can pull off the server to begin with, let alone what your speeds are. At the pieces, would this connect a pair of 6000 TV with an HDMI?
Weirdly, all of a sudden,
weirdly cut out. I'm assuming that it's that the Attic B is asking about the BeoConnect Core. Any speaker all the way down to BeoLab Penta can be plugged in. I don't know. Well, Steve would know. Only reason why would you do that with the Pentas, but I wouldn't bother. But yeah, you can plug in any speaker other than BeoLab 3500, of course, into the core. Which I'm actually very curious, because we got a pair of 6000s for a repair, so I'm going to fix them up. Hopefully by then the goofy core is going to show up, and I want to actually plug them into the 6000s as well. I want to listen to that thing on as many speakers as it's possible, just to see what the difference is.
I'm really interested in what people have for internet at home. Because even with a gigabit connection, right? Like you're not maxing out Wi-Fi 6.
No, there's no way. I think that whole Wi-Fi nonsense is becoming too gimmicky. It's a fake label, I guess, in a way.
I mean, it does matter for interconnectivity in the house, but like, I'll pull that next. How many of you have a server at home? Of any kind, like file sharing within like the computers you have, like how many people run like Plex or God, what's that other one called? I don't even remember. I'm blanking now. I had a bad week.
I had a whole night of bourbon, so I'm glad I made it here. Actually, fudge.
Yeah, and I didn't mean ruin the one the DLNA server a lot of Beano people use. I never used it because
What, BeoMaster 5?
no, there's like this add-on that
No
it
idea.
uh,
There it says Apple Time Machine with TP-Link mesh extenders. No issues with BNO, but good.
yeah, good. That's not a guarantee though. Like you probably aren't using a lot of WISA products.
That might
Twonky,
be it.
that's it.
That's it. Twonky server.
I knew it ended in a Y. I can remember anything in front of that.
The Twonky server. I remember those days. You have to install that on the Apple so your BeoSound 5 Encore would work. Oh, oh, the pain of the yesteryears. Bro, I'm so glad that's over.
I mean, coming back to the networking thing, B&O doesn't say their stuff doesn't work with anything else, right? That's not what they're saying. It's just for the optimal experience. Go with Ubiquiti.
That's
But
right.
if you have, I don't know, weird issues, it could potentially be your network, especially if you have meshed something or other. Because a lot of mesh networks work over like a 6 gigahertz band on the back end that you don't see show up in like your
The
device,
spectrum. Yeah.
but it's very close to WISA.
Yeah, and that might be kicking stuff out.
So,
But
but if you then call in the repair guy, right? Like it's not working, it's your fault. It could very well be yours. And now at least I still think they should very much tell dealers like this is not optional. You must tell them, or at least
I ag-
inquire.
I agree to a point. If you're landing a project, brand new home or a renovation, I think at that point it's your duty as a dealer to take over that control, because you're specing the entire system. Why would you let the most important backbone part of the spinal cord of your entire system to be bought by a client somewhere on Amazon, or be brought in by the ISP providers? I think that's a mistake. That's a big mistake.
Plus
So
the uh, Ubiquiti has a sale. Like the Dream Machine Pro isn't that expensive. It's $380. I bought it on sale when it was $280, which is for what it is. Like it's essentially server equipment. It's fantastic. And if you go for the Dream Machine router, as routers go, it's very very good. Again, it's not the fastest, but it's the most stable. It's $200,
yeah,
which is really quite good. And then I think they essentially made this, which is the same thing except a bit smaller. It's $130. The Cloud Gateway Ultra.
with the little display.
Yeah. Like you can use it as an access point too.
Mm-hmm.
It's super versatile.
No, Ubiquiti's gone a long way since. Well, I've been around Ubiquiti for almost 12 years, and I've never had issue with any of their gear. or equipment that, like, yeah, I've had a couple of things that died, but after a few years, but that's it's somewhat normal and expected that things can die, just like we can, I guess. So it's
if you pour enough liquor in
that's it.
it.
So yeah, that's the way to go, especially if you just set it all up through Ubiquiti, even with your IP cameras, everything, man. It's just so rock solid. It's so rock solid.
Yeah,
And
I haven't even gotten to that. I still need to set up all my cameras.
yeah, but I'm so glad that they had, not to listen, but realized, I guess, or whatever, that Ubiquiti is the way to go. Ubiquiti is definitely the way to go. So
Yeah,
there you have it with
now
that.
they just need to fix their own app, not Ubiquiti,
Oh, do we have to talk about it?
I kind of don't want to because it annoys me and I kind of hate bitching, right? Like, I told you in private, and like, sometimes on Sunday, I kind of like, there's not much to talk about other than the major fuck ups of the app. And I kind of don't want to do it because I don't want to bitch and moan, because I don't want to be the bitching and moaning channel about BNO.
I agree.
Because
But
a lot of stuff is quite good. It's
but
just,
it's the app. They need to really pick that up, man. Like,
I
and
mean, I saw it on Discord, and again, come join Discord if you want to be a bit ahead of the curve. And if you're ever wondering, should I download this latest beta or this update, have a rummage around on Discord, because I just, for reasons, can't turn it off on my iPhone, but I have on my iPad. And you know how they like for the 50s and 90s, right? The volume slider was gone for 50s
yes.
and 90s for third party equipment.
Hmm.
Uh, Playing around my record deck and my BeoCenter 2, the off button is also gone. So you just have to wait for it to time out until it goes off. It's just like,
Or you just do all standby, I guess, and cut everything down.
yeah, but if you're watching TV in the other room,
Sorry, honey.
like, do you have like 30 seconds? I need to shut my speakers down. That means I need to shut your TV down over there. That's not connected. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's silly. I honestly, I try to stay away from the app, but I
I'm
find it
so
difficult
happy
to
I have
do.
remotes now for essentially everything. It's
Yeah,
it's the R word.
yeah. No, I just can't. I can't even. But I have to deal with it because there's no other way to set stuff up, especially at the clients' places. So
I mean, Sandeep says, I don't mind the aesthetics, just one step forward, two steps back nature of updates. It's not. I liked the old aesthetic. It was fine. It was functional. It was quirky in its B&O ways. It's going to look all slick now, which I also don't mind. But a lot of shit is hidden again, which is like, why? I don't understand. Like, why is this off the main page? Yes, it looks nicer, but it's almost like you guys don't live with this. But we've been saying this for weeks, if not years now, right? Like, it seems like the people that are designing the operation panel for it don't live with it or don't use it. Which is
I think they're 9 to 5 users or 8 to 4, whatever, whenever they start working. I think that they go back home to their Sonos or whatever the heck they have and don't really live with the
but
apps.
somehow the app changes stuff on the devices. Like, when was it? 2 weeks ago, I was bitching about that with the EA 3.0s, right? You used to have the setting for gradation of transparency.
Yeah, that's gone on everything now. I noticed that as
Which
well.
is like, why? That was excellent. I want that back. I will not have that be gone. Like, how
and
can
the
you
funny
have
thing is, that it's possible to make it work again because that feature was there before. So why was it taken out?
But why are we taking features away?
Somebody deemed them non-important. I can't explain it any other way.
what I also found is,
You'll get it back in 6 months.
yeah,
And
that's
something
another
else will go,
insult to
bro.
injury, right? Like, oh, we took this feature away that you had for 3 odd years. Like,
On generations of different earphones or whatever, and all of a sudden it's gone.
but the weirdest part is the app changes it on the product. Because on my iPad, it's still the old app. And if I connect my E8s to my iPad, it's back again and I can set it.
Does it remember it when you go back to the phone or no?
Yeah, but as soon as my phone app sees it, it's gone again.
That makes no sense, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's and I know this is a non-important product for them, but it's those little things. Like, if you want to sell that many headphones, like, this was an amazing feature. Like, Apple does transparency too, and okay, but it's kind of nice that you can be transparent and still continue listening if it's, I don't know, you're in a fucking food store just paying for something real quick, right? It's you're just saying hello, how much is it, like, can I pay with card, whatever, but you still can hear it, but you're still not such a dickhead that it's like, what
Yeah.
But now it's like, it's full-blown transparency, and if you haven't pressed pause, it just keeps playing.
Into itself, yeah.
At least with the Apple AirBuds, if you take them out, it pauses automatically.
EXs do that, but they do it on the TV. Oh, here's an interesting thing that I had come across, and it's a I don't think it's a bug. I think it's more or less an oversight. But I don't know how many people have that issue. But I sometimes just want to listen, or not even listen to the TV, or have a smoke. So I turn on the fan, and I don't want to hear the right.
Mm-hmm.
So I put my EXs on, and I just watch the TV. So you put the earphones in, the menu prompt comes on. Do you want to connect to the EX? Yeah. I click OK. They come on, and the volume that was on the theater set as 50 now goes to 80 or 90, which was I had on the headphones. It remembers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. But as soon as I take them off, like, and put them in the case to turn them off, right? Because if you just take one out of your ear, it actually pauses the TV playback, which is pretty cool, and then you can put it back and it resumes. But when you take them off and you put them back in the case, it disconnects from the TV, of course,
Yeah.
and then the volume jumps to 50, and then immediately after it goes back to 90. So when you press play, you shit a nugget. Oh my God, bro. And it's just loud, like loud. Fuck. At 11 o'clock at night, it is not funny.
No.
It is not funny at all. So, and I think they have to look into that, because the theater should force that volume back after a Bluetooth product has been disconnected from the television. But it doesn't. Its TV overrides it back. So if I don't press my button...
I fully understand this, but this is probably even more marginal than literally taking away features that your products used to have.
I agree. I completely agree. I'm probably a weird use case that I have headphones connected to the theater. Like, what are you, get your head checked, I guess.
I think a lot of people that actually connect their headphones do it via cable, like power link to 3.5mm jack or something like that, right? Even though the Bluetooth works just fine, I tried it with the portals and it's just fine too. And you can, like, volume, and you see the volume go up on the TV, and it's...
Yeah. Just God forbid you turn them off when they're 90, bro.
Just remember, I guess, turn your headphones down.
Yeah, you have to turn them down. Like, I literally just hold on the left earphone till it goes down to 50, 40, whatever, and I disconnect them, and then it just goes back to 50 and back to or back to 40 and then back to 50 again and back to 40, what it was from the headphones.
But even if EXs had, like, that level of transparency, if that's gone too on those now, it's like,
of course it is.
Why? It's like, did you not know this was a feature? Like, and why can't you set this? Or are we so beta that later down the line you get the feature back that you've had for years? Like, this makes no goddamn sense.
Or is it maybe a forced survey by taking stuff out and see how many people are going to cry about it?
Yeah, but that's another part, right? Like, we talked about this last week, but the crying about it is goddamn awful. Because you
Yeah,
get
it's getting
somebody
old.
talking back to you like, could you explain again what you just told us? Because I don't understand. Which is like the worst thing about the whole sort of customer experience is that it seems like they come from Sony products or something. Like, wait, you have B&O, and what is it meant to do? Because I don't know. Which is a weird
Hmm.
customer service.
Yeah, it's silly.
I'll pull this. Wow, actually, the least amount of people in our audience have a 0 to 250 Mbit internet connection.
Nice.
It seems to be about evenly distributed from there on.
Hmm.
So 25, 28, 28, and it seems like 28% have over more than 1 gig or a gig and over internet connection. I mean, I'm currently on a 500 fiber line, but I would like some more speed, but it doesn't really matter. Plus, where I am, because of the missus's job, it's free.
Hmm.
Which is the best internet to have, right? Like free
That's right.
internet. I mean, if I go
So,
to a gig up and down, it'll become $10 a month. But that's an additional $10 I don't have to spend if I stay at 500.
oh, it's like there's only two kinds of beer, free and cold, right?
Yeah.
So that's it. Oh, by the way, if anybody wonders, I did purchase myself a new Audi. I already built it. It's a cute little model. So yeah, supporting Danish economy one Lego piece at a time. Uh, Laurie said to take it with support about the 50s nice problem. That was just to buy a remote. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I would still, yeah, if for the third party stuff, like we've done, uh, I guess an update to the 90s on one of the gentleman's house where we put the turntable on him and just, you know what, you're in a price category, I guess, where you can't afford a remote and an IR, so we put that in there and it's perfect. It just works. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the third one
Who
here.
was it? I think it was Leaf Life Loki on the Discord that has, or was it Lawrence? Maybe, I don't know. But 50s, obviously, no volume and can't turn off anymore. 90s, same problem. And apparently, whenever the 8s lose power, you have to reset them up because the product image goes away and that sort of thing.
Oh wow. Hey, Stefan.
And the response was nothing.
Crickets, bro. So I don't know. I just don't understand if they're so busy and there's so many products that are not aware of what they are inevitably affecting with their app updates. But I think that that ecosystem that they have for testing should be expanded upon with more product. And I think that the people that are in charge of designing this app should be mandatory to live with this product, with few of them at least, so they can see those bugs in real time and not, instead of
But
just tuning in every Sunday to listen to us moan and bitch about nonsense that shouldn't even be present in those apps.
But a lot of these problems, or we, you for sure, me too, Sandeep as well, could see if you just send us screenshots. Like, we don't even have to run the software, right? Like, just send us the
Hmm.
screenshot of how the menu now looks. Because I would notice that the power off or on button is gone
Hmm.
on 50s. Everybody would notice that even if you give us like 3 screenshots of like, this is what this menu looks like, this is the main
Yeah.
page. Like where's the volume slider?
Yeah, that is a big mishap in my opinion, especially with
Because another thing that, like, I don't know, because I haven't done it in forever because it's a set and forget thing, but the
Mhm.
startup volume for third-party products, right? Like, or like the non-PowerLink things. If you set that in 50s and or 90s in the app and you are not going through it through the IP address, it borks up the speaker and you have to power cycle them. Like they don't work anymore.
Really.
Yeah. But that was always like an app compatibility issue or something. Like it's nothing catastrophic. It's just like all of a sudden, like, why are my 50s not turning off? Like, why are they not playing anything? Oh my god, did I ruin them? And it's like, no, just power cycle them, bro.
Sorry, I ran out of water in my coffee maker. Call this. Hold on. The compressor noises.
It's I wonder if, I mean, again, it's a set and forget thing, and fortunately you can uh,
What?
uh,
Squirrel? Oh boy. Anybody else emailing about?
no,
No.
I'm just looking over on the Twitch side because I forget we were on the Twitch side. Apparently there was an update to bring AirPlay 2 to the Airport Express. Nice audio endpoint. I guess, but everything nowadays is AirPlay 2, even though I think you're not supposed to call it AirPlay 2 anymore, just AirPlay again.
Hmm. What's the difference, by the way?
Bandwidth, essentially.
Oh.
Because AirPlay 2 goes up to CD quality. And I think is shareable, uh, like,
Multi-stream?
yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Someone asked yesterday whether AirPlay streams can be BNO multi-room shared. He said no, they can't when they truly can. Yes, they can be shared.
But you have to enable it, though.
Hmm.
There is literally a
A
tab
slider for it.
in the old ASE products. I forget what it's like because I don't really use it because, like, if you're in, I get that people use it because they're used to it, but again, it's like often you need to have an app open or it makes your phone no longer your phone. It makes it the streaming device, right? So I personally don't really like that. Uh,
Hmm.
but it's fine for like streaming. Like, hey, have you heard this? Like, real quick.
Yeah.
But you can absolutely share like touch to join AirPlay. You just have to enable it, though.
I had a bug, which is gone with the new software on the theater. I had a bug where I could not, and not that I really cared, but just for the shits and giggles of experimenting. When my girlfriend, was in the bathroom having a shower and she was listening to her Spotify Connect on the Emerge, I
Mm-hmm.
could not join it with the theater. Yeah, would not do it. It's gone now. It's working, but it would not do it. And I'm just like, isn't that weird? But now it's okay.
Maybe it's
Now you
like a
can actually do
network
it again.
clock that got like
I've
different time.
rebooted the theater even, bro.
Interesting.
Never, yeah, never. Like it just would not. Like it joined and give you toot toot toot. It gave me three bings and that's it. That's all I got.
Hmm.
Like when I was watching YouTube at the time, and when you join, yeah, it shuts the screen off and just go toot toot toot. And on the app it says Spotify Connect, but it doesn't pull the album art or any metadata. It just says it's selected as a source, but there's nothing. Nobody's home. But that's gone now, and I really don't care for it anyways because I don't really use Spotify Connect. So
Ed asks, when can we expect shipment of BeoConnect Core to US addresses? If I had to guess,
month.
next month or so.
Dude,
Because
I'm in
first they're gonna
Canada. We're a
supply all
shop
the
and we don't even
dealers
have
with
it.
one or two, and they're gonna make them change all the shapes, and then have
Yeah,
like a separate setup for showing it off, that sort of thing. And then if they
we
have,
got the wall bracket for it, but not the core.
and then if they have enough left over to meet demand, but demand tends to go Europe first. So if Europe gobbles up everything, then the US may be delayed a bit.
Yeah,
So
but it's coming. It's coming. It's. Uh, and how are you surprised, right? In my opinion, it's always like that when the product gets issued out. I'm actually surprised that they actually have inventory, because usually it's an announcement and then it's a 2 to 3 months lull of
absolutely
nothing.
nothing. No
Not
marketing, no
not even a
nothing.
not even a fucking Instagram post, and then it's now in the stock. So yeah, and I'm glad that they're correcting that behavior where they announce the product, but they actually do have some of it in stock, or at least available for shipment. But yeah, I wouldn't hold my breath for too long. I think it's going to be at least a month. Our shipment from the BeoConnect Core got delayed, I think, till April 12th or 14th. I don't remember. So yeah, another 2 3 weeks before we see it in the shop. And it's only one that we're getting so far, I think. I don't know if Kareem ordered more. I think he did. I'm sure he have. But yeah, that's gonna be fuck. Once it comes in, man, I'll spend a day in the shop testing all the speakers with it, because I'm definitely curious about it. We actually have a set of lap fives in the back of the room.
Nice.
So I'm gonna try to connect the lap fives to it.
Also, if
See
you're
what
in
goes.
the US, I saw that our friend over from New York, that he has a client that is willing to sell a working pair of, I think they're Mark One Biolab 5s for $2,500.
That's a good deal.
That's a
But
fantastic deal,
till
especially in the
they
US.
pop. Mm. Well, you don't buy them under $10,000 anyways.
Yeah, but if you look on eBay and that sort of thing, everybody wants 15 grand for them.
Hmm.
So if you're in the US and you're looking for, like, this is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, they were owned by an elderly gentleman and never like ran hard.
Oh, they probably had like a news radio station playing on it most of their life.
Yeah. So can I guarantee they'll last for years? No, but like at 2.5 grand, that's crazy, right?
That's
You
a
could,
crazy deal, and quite honestly, if they do go, email me and I'll get you fixed up.
yeah, because they are fixable for sure. Like whether B&O wants it to do it, but then you can go third party.
Hmm. But
Anyway,
yeah, chassis are still repairable, so we'll see.
I mean, even for Europe, 2.5 grand for a good condition set of fives is pretty good.
Hmm.
I mean, then I guess the only difference is that they're probably in New York, so getting them is, depending on where you are, a bit more of a faff, but still, compared to the rest of the market. I mean, in a way, it's sad, right? Like that the dealership doesn't just give you that sort of money for an old set of fives.
Mm. Well, you're still gonna make your living as a store, and quite honestly, uh, it's not even about the trade in value, but also the risk of the fact. And like, we, not that we do trade in, we take back lap fives and whatever, but before they are resold, we do swap the chassis in them. So we can't fucking sell them for peanuts and cashews, because we had spent $6,000 on them to make redo the. There's few that had blown tweeters or whatever, so you got to put that in there, because you can't, as a shop, you can't sell something that is half baked.
Yeah, but that, I mean, this is specifically fives, but like even BLAB ones
Hmm.
in general are deemed worthless in as a trade in North, or at least in the US. I
Well, because there's no spare parts for them. Like if those speakers go, you're basically got, you can smelt that aluminium and pour it into an anthill.
but same for like 8,000, 6,000, pentas, you name it.
Dude, 4,000s, we have to send the amplifier boards back to Denmark for repair because there's no longer available and they do board repairs now. So it's getting progressively more and more difficult to even service the older gear. And especially like, it comes to 6,000s or 8,000s with that shitty foam inside that rots and basically cooks your PCB board and shorts it out. Uh, you never know that till it's too late. And what do we go now as a preventative measure and open up everybody's set of 8,000s and vacuum out the foam? And like, what do you do? It's just,
Yeah,
they stood the test of time, and quite honestly, I think the biggest problem that P&O has, that they make a product that looks so timeless that people forget how long they've had it in their life.
I mean, I do understand that, but like, it just irks me because in Europe this would not fly, right? Like, because I also think like the Second Life is much more a thing. Because like,
Yeah, well, this is a more of a consumerism culture in North America, so that's a hard sell here.
yeah,
It's
just
better now, I guess, with the Facebook Marketplace and whatever. You can still get, used stuff and whatever, but it's not something that stores especially, designate a section in their shop to have, retired B&O pieces per se, or any other product, I guess, if you think about.
but like maybe more apt thing, right? If you have I don't know, a set of 17s and you want to upgrade to 8s, right? Like
Mhm.
$200, something like that, maybe if you're lucky for a set of 17s for trading, which is
Yeah,
like,
that's you just sell them online.
yeah, that's what everybody tries to do, right? But then that's where the weird skew comes in because everybody thinks it's worth thousands because that's what I paid for it 5 or 10 years ago. I
Yes.
mean, if
Well,
you look
also,
at 12 threes here, like people still want essentially $500 below new price.
but you can't get them anymore, so it's just what it is, right?
Yeah, but that's why they also don't sell. So anything like that just stays online forever.
Yeah.
And then if you are the next guy, like it messes up everything. I feel.
Well, BioTime is now what, $1,000 on eBay still
Yeah.
for a $400 alarm clock back in 2010 when it was out, or eight. I don't even remember what year it was.
If you even still have IR in your house.
Yeah,
I mean, the
there's
B&O
not much.
Instagram is getting a bit better, fortunately.
Yes, yes,
Though they did
I
have
like it.
a good weekend this weekend because Ferrari was 1-2
Oh, really?
in Australia. So lots of shots from the car and B&O logos. I don't know how you quantify that, as in like, yay, we sponsored the right people or something, but
More people see it, I guess. That's the only way. More eyeballs you get on that logo, the better off you are.
so I guess that's good. But
Mm.
I'm yeah, I'm still not entirely sure that was the best use of money.
They doing what they can. I wonder if there's gonna be any more updates to the Ferrari collection. Maybe not. There's a new
What would you
color
do
for the
though?
BeoSound too. What?
Like lap 50s in red and black, like the lens is black, or
That would look kind of cool, but I don't know. Maybe a level something. 'Cause I don't think you can go with something as opulous as like 50s, man. That's too much. But it would look
yeah,
fucking
but we're
sick
going
if they
for
were
the
in
very
red.
high net worth individual. Surely
You're
that is
very right.
peanuts. Like,
Yeah.
surely you're gonna lay down 75 grand for a set of 50s, right? If they're in Ferrari color.
Well, you
Because you
got to
can
put them
then
in there.
have them next to your Ferraris in your garage.
That's right.
Like the garage that has a couch in it, so you can look at your Ferraris with your Ferrari BLAB 50 speaker next to it.
Or garages like they have here. where you actually buy a place where you park your high-end vehicles with a loft and mezzanine up top, and you know, I've done few garages like that. It's mind-boggling how much money people have sometimes.
If I'm not mistaken, that Alicia Keys' house had that. Like, they have 50s in their garage, and their garage is enormous and has like
Hmm.
couches in them to like have garage parties, so you can look at you and your buddy's exotic cars and still have a bit of a
Oomph, oomph going on. Pots and pans, pots and pans. So, but yeah, it's a hoot
I
so
mean, it's
far.
probably easier to do the 50s in Ferrari anything than the 90s.
Oh yeah, well you only have 4 pieces of aluminium, 5 pieces of aluminium that you have 6 that you have to anodize. The
Yeah, but
bottom, the
they're
3
probably going to
sides,
do
top, and the
something with the
lens.
sails, right? And that's never going to last like anodizing aluminium will.
No, 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 no. Maybe a balance. I think they should start promoting the shape more now with the new BeoConnect Core. I think that's a good push. They introduced new colors, but they're kind of that's French's mustard. But a little too, I don't know, like
Moutard, huh? Moutard.
uh, so no, I think that they should focus a little bit more on the shape because it's a very undersold product, especially for. I think they should focus that more into the design magazines where you know very interior design based people look at, because that is a very much an interior design product. It's a piece of art on the wall. I'm not talking about the David Lynch fucking ink disaster, but the whole the shape is a great product, and I think it's very undersold and very misunderstood. And I'm really looking forward to hear it with the new Core Connect, because if it's a big game changer, then it's yeah, I'm not getting rid of my shape, that's for sure. Just gonna get myself a new Core Connect into it.
I've
I,
actually seen people get a regular TV and use the shape as the TV speakers. Again, with
mhm.
the Core Connect, the BCC, that just works, which is another very nice feature.
Yes,
I mean, if you really want that, like, sort of uh, frame on the wall, whatever Samsung TV that doesn't really look like a TV, and then you have speakers that are not looking like speakers.
that Samsung frame, bro. Like, oh,
Yeah,
I
it's an installer's
understand.
nightmare, I know, but if you do it
No,
right.
not really. I just hate the fucking thing. It's not really a nightmare in a sense, because yeah, you have to measure 2 different attachment points because they split the bracket in 2 pieces now, so it's modular for different sizes of the TVs. But the TV is just so cheaply made.
That's a Samsung.
It's so cheaply made, and the picture sucks compared to LG's. It sucks nuggets, bro. I just don't understand. Like, yes, it's a cool art on the wall deal going on, but is it?
Have you seen this whole ad for the shape? Because I haven't. It's on their website, but like, why the hell haven't you guys posted this yet on Instagram or YouTube or
Where
whatever?
is it?
It's on their website. It's for the shape.
Oh,
Like, they actually spend time and it actually looks quite decent. Like, because it's not actually about the angry vegan people this time. It's actually about the product, which is like,
yeah.
yes, finally. But why is this like I haven't looked at the shape on the website in a while. Like, why is this so hidden on the website?
Hmm. It's the same room that they did the that they took the picture from, that big shape. It's got to be somewhere in the Factory 5. But that's cool. That's cool. The shape is awesome, man. Like I said, it needs to be put out there more, in my opinion. It needs to be put out there more. I understand it's more like it's a devil's product too, because if you start going down the rabbit hole of what colors and no pun intended shape you want, it you can end up with endless iterations of what you'll never end up with.
Mm-hmm.
You just gotta commit.
I
Best
mean,
way to
I
do it.
obviously can't play the music with it, but
Mhm.
go listen to it. But just from a visual thing, right? What else are you meant to do? Take everything off and show the insides? It's a very hard product to show, but at least
Yes.
people are actually having fun. They're dancing because of this product, right?
Hmm.
It's not like, oh, I'm staring in the distance and I'm contemplating. No, it's like we're actually doing something together.
And I'm contemplating angry.
Like, I think this is good. Like, don't keep this hidden. Like, nobody knows about this product because you don't
No.
tell anybody about it.
Yeah, I'm very excited about the shape
I mean,
when it
I,
comes
I
to the
must
with
say
the new
though,
core.
we essentially say like the shape is essentially for like hotels, that sort of thing, right? But all the product pictures are for in houses.
Hmm.
So I mean, maybe we think it's something different than even they do. But if it's meant for customers, then why aren't you promoting it for like not for hotels and stuff?
Hmm. Yeah, I don't understand. It's a great sound system, to be honest. I really like it. It's just it's a really tough sell. We don't really put much together. I think I've installed only one since I've been here in a year and a half, or two. Two. I've done two actually. So that just goes to say. But we're slinging BioLab 8s like it's nobody's business, man. It's unbelievable.
Good.
Those speakers. Oh yeah, it's a very successful speaker, and it sounds great.
How much of it
And
is like power linked to a theater or some such?
so far we have zero. We have a standalone pair because we can't really keep them in stock, and then we have the mandatory silver one, display one, so they're disconnected and just sitting on these
Oh,
goofy
sorry, I meant more like in
posts.
sales. Like, what do customers generally do with it? Do they use it as
Surround
is?
there. Wow, it's very mix and match. There has been few that we did the theater. I haven't done any installs on them yet because it's more or less on the big jobs that the guys already had planned a long time ago. And those speakers just gotten added into the mix, but a lot of them are in surround setups. There's
Yeah,
few
but
that we've done
I mean, so
stereo.
they are attached with a wire or something. They're not
Yes,
generally on there by themselves, right?
they're a dumb speaker. Yes, they're a power link driven speaker.
Yeah.
But here's a interesting finding that I had come across, and actually Kareem come across, but I've seen this before. I just never really paid attention to it. But when you stereo pair any Mozart platform products, you have an extra slider for compression. You have compressed and uncompressed music stream.
Yeah, yeah.
Why is
LC2
it?
or whatever it's called, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, AAC2 or some nonsense or uncompressed. And like he's like, why would they compress the music? I'm like, I think the reason why they compress it because if you stereo pair the speakers via Wi-Fi, then it's less likely for them to drop between themselves if you run uncompressed music because it's less data that they have to push together
Yeah.
or between one another. So yeah, the latest update has partly bricked my A6 Chromecast. No longer works currently. Only working as part of a group, not on its own. Very irritating. Paul says.
I can understand.
I can understand also, but I can't relate because I don't use Chromecast whatsoever. Uh, you know, I live in a full B&O bubble environment, so for me it's network link all the way through, which is also irritating because if I want to listen to, if I watch stand-up comedy or whatever and I go take a shower, I have to turn the theater down to join Emerge because otherwise they're delayed so much that it's just like it's basically like you're listening to two shows in the same time. It's nonsense. And I don't know if B&O will be ever able to fix that issue, or maybe they should hire somebody from Sonos and help them out with that because they apparently gotten it figured it out. So
Yeah. Uh,
So yeah, there's gonna be now two setups also for the shape. Speaking of it,
though
it's
I
gonna
must
be.
say, sorry, coming back to the
Mm,
Chromecast thing, the A6 I think is of the era where Google has changed Chromecast parameters, so it may not actually be B&O, and
hmm.
I'm not sure that's one of the things going on there, right? Because I think the A6 is maybe it's old now. It's what, 10 years old?
I'm actually very surprised that your A6 is working still, bro. Because I've seen a lot of them with the power supply or main board die, and that's it. And then it's just basically a floaty.
Yeah, keep it out of the sun if you're using it.
Yeah. So,
Hmm. But
anyways,
I think it's an age related thing, and wasn't there like a lawsuit like a year or two ago from Sonos to Google about how they use Chromecast or something, and I think Sonos won.
hmm, it was working okay day before the update. That sucks, bro.
Wait, so did the firmware update or just the app? Because if the B&O app updated, then like goddamn, like if there was no other update, like
I don't think there's been a recent software update for the A6.
firmware. Uh,
You know what, Paul? Email me your serial number from the thing, and I can take a look.
because I think you can go back a firmware. You can't ever at all.
It will never go back. I've tried.
Oh god damn it.
Works fine with AirPlay and Multiroom, but no Google. Hmm.
Hmm.
But yeah, if you want, email me your serial number. I can look on this on the product health center from this side and see what's going on. Maybe there is a service release available for the ASC platform for those older products. It's just not given out to people based on, I guess, the complaints.
Also, if we figure out what the firmware number was before, then I'm sorry to say, Paul, but you have to use you as an example to like, if your firmware is not X number, do not update. Auto
If
update
you
off.
if you're looking for if you're looking to use the Google Chromecast,
Yeah. Because, well, I bet you the firmware didn't change anything else.
I don't think so. Piano didn't like me using YouTube Music, so just to use something else. That's the one way to fix the problem. Blame it on somebody else. That's it.
I kind of
So,
hate that because that, look, I have my thoughts about going after the very high net worth individuals, right? And we talked about it a bit last week and the weeks
mhm.
before, and how few there are in the world. But like, imagine, right? Like, if they don't know you're a Google exec, and they just essentially tell you, like, go use something else. Like, YouTube is like
It's
these are the
not free,
people you're
so
after, right? Like, like you're
yeah.
some YouTube Google Alphabet exec. And you get free login because you're high up at the company because you're a very high net worth individual, and then this shitty little audio company brand that's been around forever just tells you, no, actually your service is shit. Like, what the hell, man?
So the last software update that I'm looking at for BeoSound or BeoPlay A6 was released on November 22nd, 2023. And the software release is 2.4.55195. So that's as far as I can take you to the answer of what it is. So
Hmm.
that's uh, that's where we're at with it.
Oh, Sandeep has found a newer one, according to BNO, because apparently that database is semi-open now. But
I
apparently
think
they
that
don't
the
match
other
with what
software
you're
is,
seeing on the back end, which is interesting already.
well, it's not the backend. I'm just going through the BOIs thing. I don't have the his serial number yet. He never
But
emailed it so far, but
honestly, this is essentially for many products why I keep my auto updates off. Because of this sort of nonsense, right? Because
well,
like
it's always that surprise.
if
Yeah,
nothing's
don't fix it.
broken, then like don't fix it. It's fine, whatever. And somebody's going to be the first one to say, oh, I'm going to give it a try. And they're going to moan about it, generally.
And the worst thing is that, once you step in shit, it's really hard to get it off your shoe.
Yes.
And sometimes it just sticks pretty good. So
yeah.
I have my auto updates because I have to live with it more or less. So far so good. I just wish that LG was a little more informative about what the updates are, or bug fixes, or whatever it does when it updates. But so far, like just like Sandeep says, the 3.4.1.8 version of the theater is absolutely solid. It works like a charm.
I must agree, as in, like, the theater software releases have been quite good, actually. Like,
Yes,
not really anything to complain about.
they
Which is,
fixed more than they broke with it, so that's good.
yes.
And at this point, yeah, it's a solid piece of gear now. Finally, well, it's kind of been almost 2 years, so it should be. And
Yeah. What do
I'm
banks say? Like, past experiences aren't a guarantee for the future or something like that.
I still think, and I have a feeling and a strong suspicion now that even like, especially with the network publication, that the BNO is slowly going to move away from the WiSA connected speakers. I think they're still going to support that WiSA protocol within, but I think we're in a near future. And I'm not saying that I know anything from the inside, or I'm just speculating, but I'm really convinced about that we're going to be seeing an era where we're going to have speakers over network, I guess surround over network type of thing going on.
Yeah, well, also Wi-Fi is more and more like when WiSA was designed, right? Like,
Wi-Fi was
essentially,
nowhere near in that speed or capability,
well,
I
it was
guess.
also not in the frequency band because it's limited at 5.2 gigahertz or
Yes.
something. So we'll put WiSA at 5.4 and slightly above. And
Hmm.
now we're going up to 6 gigahertz and beyond, which will create its own issues in and of itself because I mean that's almost going to be line of sight when it's going to get that fine.
Hmm.
Because I mean even the actual 5G towers, right, are mostly line of sight. If you have like 2-3 buildings and you drop to 4G or 4G plus or whatever the hell they wish to call it now.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm really suspecting that that's where we're headed, which I don't think it's a bad idea if,
That's
as
why
a
ubiquity
dealer,
is a good
or,
idea to promote.
well, that's what I'm saying. I think that's why that's one of the things that I think they're trying to conceptualize, the fact that you need to set up a correct network infrastructure in the house of a client if we are going to have a positive experience with our product. So, but I really have a feeling that the WiSA is going to go by the wayside, just by the fact that you could stream a higher resolution into each speaker than the WiSA possibly can.
Yeah, because WiSA is limited at 24-bit 96 kilohertz.
That's correct. So
Though, can you even hear that well? It's hard to say.
it makes a difference on the 90s when I hardwired them versus having them WiSA.
Yeah, but that's also because more of the room compensation works.
Yes.
So it's not really a fair A to B, but like mean, can you tell on, let's say, 28? Because
Hmm.
you should be able to, because 28s are good enough, but I don't think many people can.
Hmm.
But even, yeah, like, get this little Ubiquity pill suppository.
Suppository.
I mean, it's actually a kind of nice looking Apple-esque design, right?
Yes,
Like, and it's not very big. It's essentially a nicer looking normal size router.
that is solid as rock, and
Yeah.
it's not that expensive, other than the fact that it's sold out, I guess, unfortunately.
Good morning, Ralph.
Yeah, good morning. It feels like it for me too,
You
bro.
must be in Australia.
Mm,
There's not that many places where it's morning at the moment.
no, no. It's a rough morning when you start your day with a chili hot dog. It was good. It was good, man.
I mean,
So,
this thing, by the way, even can like run a doorbell camera and stuff,
hmm.
which is kind of nice.
No, and Ubiquity, they've gone a long ways since, I guess first time me discovering them in 2011. Because back then it was just the access points antennae, right? And they had a
Hmm.
couple of little switches and routers, I guess. But now it's they have outside infrastructure as well, so you can do Wi-Fi antennas for fudge everywhere. If you have a big acreage or whatnot, you can actually connect your entire property on a Wi-Fi network. So yeah, they've gone a long ways because the IP cameras weren't even in existence in their portfolio a few years back. But I think
Yeah,
it's a
God,
smart
they
idea for
made a
them.
new product, and it has the UK Ultra.
What is that?
I, well, it's very close to MK Ultra, which was a CIA mind control program. It's like this is the worst name ever.
Oh boy.
I think what is it? Was it some access point or something? I forget what it was. Yeah, the UK Ultra, the Swiss Army knife. It's essentially an access point that you can like mount on the wall or on your ceiling, whatever.
Hmm.
But it's tiny, right? Like it's like iPhone size,
Okay.
and it's $90. But you can add
It's
like
probably like the one that I got in the back of the room here. Was we
oh,
have
this
those
is
access
brand new,
points.
but you can add
Yeah,
like
this is in, yeah.
antennas to it and extenders and shit like that,
Hmm.
which is actually kind of interesting.
Oh yeah, see that's the outdoor mounting, yeah. So it is an outdoor one as well, I guess.
Yeah, it does everything. That's why they
That's
essentially
cool.
said that's why the name is the name.
The Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't get sued for that.
Well, there's more than one company that makes a Swiss Army knife. Whether they're used
Yeah.
by the army is a different question.
Yeah. Most of the armies in the world require a wine opener in their knives.
The French do.
That's funny.
God, the British made an aircraft carrier with the French, right? And they were quibbling about the specs of the ship, and the French won because the kitchen had to be big.
Cuisine. Gotta be able to eat, bro. It's important.
Not
It's
just
important.
eat well. Like we need that onion soup.
So yeah. I wonder what else will be new in the future of BNO. I think that as far as the product releases, I don't. Well, there's going to be something that I can't talk about, and it's probably already sold out anyways. Uh, but I think that they need to focus themselves more on the app functionality. And
I don't envy Mr. Anderson's job, honestly, but I also
mm,
wish they. I don't know if it's the app team thinking it's ready and release it, or if there's another pressure, right? Because it almost feels like they. But this is from afar, and this is not knowing because I haven't spoken to him in a bit.
Hmm.
Like, it almost feels like somebody's saying, like, come on, we've set a schedule of new releases, beta releases on these times.
Yeah. So you need to, ready or not, it goes.
Yeah, and that's
And then
kind of
we end
not the
up with
way to
half
do
baked.
it.
Yeah. And then we end up with half baked products.
I mean, it's not hardware, right? Like,
Well, obviously not. The volume control was on the 50s before the damn update. So now all of a sudden it's gone. So it's not hardware related issues.
I mean, I think the latest beta put it back, but then that broke a bunch of other stuff again.
Of
So it's
course.
it's it's like, oh man. I also kind of don't understand why this whole UI need to change. Like, I guess it looks a bit slicker, but if you lose a bunch of features to make it look slicker, I don't think it's worth it.
I honestly think the only thing they needed to change in that UI was just I like the multi-room tab where you can tap on things and individually control the volume. That was cool, or is cool, but I don't think that they needed to change that layout where if you have an emerge, you have, settings and then the software update, and then you go to settings and there's another tab for software update. The software update should not even exist on the main page at
Yeah, that's
all.
what I also don't get. Like, every product now has a software update in the main page and then again on the settings page. It's like, why isn't
Like,
it just on the settings page?
what are you trying to tell me? Basically, is what it is.
This is really important.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see on the signal info now, which is really cool on the theater, is it actually shows you what the bit rate is of coming in and out.
No, I haven't looked into the signal info in few weeks now.
Like it shows you if it's 16-bit, 24-bit, the kilohertz.
Hmm. Paul, if you are on the app, just pull down and make the A5 bigger, and the battery status should come up above it. But by default, it doesn't show, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
it was gone for a bit, and I think it's back now. But this is like, again, this is has to have a manual. Like, why is this hidden? Like,
Hmm.
also, there's so many pages you cannot swipe. Like, you have to X out of it. Like, you can swipe into things, but you can't swipe out of them. So, like, how is half of it swipe? And like, I only found this out, like you, by accident, most likely,
Hmm.
right? By the swiping thing. Because that's some annoying nonsense. Because it presents like this normally on the front page. Also, if everything needs to be sleek, this is like cluttered as fuck. And this is the new look. But
Hmm.
there's your battery.
Ta-da!
Like, why doesn't it present like that initially? I don't understand.
Neither do I. Because in that way, you only have the narrow wide mode and the my buttons, right?
Yeah, there's plenty for most people. If you want to do more, like, why do I always need to see my sound settings or software update? Like, it'll have a red or yellow dot next to it if I actually must update software.
Yes. Yeah, some of that stuff is redundant in the apps. I do have to agree. It's little. uh, it looks like it hasn't been thought through properly. Or is that somewhere that it comes from the upper channels that you have to have this in the layout for whatever nonsensical reason that they had come up with? I don't know. But to me, those things, like, if piano is all about one touch play and being simple, then get rid of the bottom 4 rows of the nonsense in the app for the products. Doesn't need to be that.
Yeah, I don't know. On one hand, it almost feels like you have a lot of software developers there now, or app developers, and it's a bunch of busy work.
Hmm. Also, I have to say, I got bored last week because there was little work to do. So I factory reset the theater in my house
Mm-hmm.
and I retuned it. And I have to say, the out of the box tune now is outstanding. I didn't change anything, no dB levels, no nothing. It sounds great as it is, but I had to reset the theater and retune it. Maybe I could have just not reset it and just have the rerun the room compensation. But I'm more of a believer. If I'm gonna have to rerun the room compensator for 4 positions, which is nonsensical to have 4 different speaker presets in a fucking studio apartment, but that's just how I live. I just reset the tits out of it and start from scratch. And it
I
sounds
may reset mine.
absolutely.
I'm not fully. I wonder if it'll also fix my inability to set the theater on floor stand thing in the app. Because
Oh, because you only have it. You
even
still
with
have
the
just that
latest app
default picture.
updates, right, I still cannot change the picture of the theater at all. It's what I chose initially, and I'm stuck with that, which is not. Fortunately, I picked the right color. Right? Like, fortunately, it's aluminium and oak, but I can't even change it to like aluminium and cloth. Like, nothing changes.
Yeah, that's so
Also,
weird.
like the wait time to get into the product color section on the theater, it takes like a literal minute for that to load. On every
I
other
would
product, it
reset
works
it.
fine.
Yeah, I would reset it, man. I know it's a pain in the dick because you have what, all 4 PLs plus a couple of wireless speakers coming into it. So yeah, it'll take a bit to retune. But I would just do it, man. It'll probably clear all the bugs or whatever it's stuck in there that is maybe preventing from doing it.
I mean, I don't want to be bitching, like I said, but if, like Sandeep says, I guess Mr. Anderson probably thinks it's beta, so just get on with it, which is fair enough, even if the errors are mind-boggling. Like, I'm thinking, like, what is alpha for? What is the alpha state? Like, how bad is that? And how do you not catch half of this stuff?
Hmm.
Because it almost makes certain things unusable. Like, and I
Do you
understand, like, it's beta, right? Like, but it's not the same across all products. Like, it's much worse on older products,
yes.
which is crazy. Like, like imagine buying 90s now, right? And essentially you must do everything with the app, and then the app is this unusable. Like, you spent 150 odd grand USD, well, ex sales tax. So what? You spent probably close to $175,000 on a set of speakers with delivery, tax, and installation.
Yeah.
And you have to use an app where like the basics like volume control don't work. It's like,
I I find it hard
why?
to believe that they would have a limitation or limited access to product since they're in a mothership. I don't see how you wouldn't have at least one of each pieces in your environment to test with. And quite honestly, if you have one level, one emerge, one M3, one M5, or stage or whatnot, then you basically cover all the platforms that you have had released since a decade. And I think that those bugs would become really, really much more apparent. Or do they do everything virtually, basically in a computer that is just mimicking the product behavior, and then you're basically in a bubble that cannot be burst? I just don't understand where the disconnect is with the app. I really don't.
I mean, I understand it's a first world problem, but I don't understand, like, as the sellers of first world devices, how they cannot make a first world app, right?
Hmm.
And it's not that I can't change I can change the cover, but I can't even make my theater. We've never been able to make our theaters look how they actually looked. Let
They
alone
finally do now.
let alone me. I will never ever be able to make my theater in the app look the way it actually looks in my living room, and I'm okay with that. But currently, I can't do anything with it. Like, nothing takes,
Hmm.
which is which is
That's
weird.
mind-boggling. It
But it's
doesn't make
only the
sense.
product color. Like in every other product, it's fine. Like, it's a theater specific thing.
Sometimes the pain.
I mean, do I care a lot? no, but it it is a bit weird when you're amongst bio friends, right? And they go, "Oh,
Mhm.
have you seen this new update?" And then you go, "Yeah, that doesn't work on my phone." Why? No idea.
Nah, that's silly, but yeah, it's true.
Like, what
It's
software
that's
version are you on? The same as you. What software version is your product on? The same or newer as you. Like,
my biggest bug with that is now that bothers the piss out of me is the crashing, the instability, especially when you do access control on the accounts. Like, and with the theater, a couple times, it takes a couple times a setup to restart the app. I have it crash mid tune, then it
God, that's
just
annoying.
theater just finishes its whoop whoop, and then you're like, okay, cool. What did it take? Because it doesn't say. You have to save the name, right? And when the app crashes, it just that thing just runs through its cycle, and you have to do it all over again. Not a biggest deal in the world, but it really doesn't instill confidence in the
It
product
doesn't
from the
very
client's
much look
perspective.
professional. Yeah.
That's exactly it. You make me look like a doorknob, but then, like, what's happening? It's just a fucking app crashed, and it's like, well, there's nothing I can do about it.
I mean, imagine you go to your Porsche or Ferrari dealer, right? And they hand you the keys to your new car and you start it and it goes. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, first world problems, man. Sometimes it just dies. Just start it again.
yeah. Don't worry about it.
Like,
Who's
they
looking,
wouldn't
right?
be in
Who's looking?
business.
So yeah, that's where we're at with it. That's the current state of affairs with the app. They need to address it if they want people to actually use it. Then they need to address it, and it needs to be more unity in it. It needs to be every product should be the same layout.
Yeah, I'm just really, really happy that my iPad is on a non-beta old version because it just works. It just
And
works. It's actually kind of nice.
mm, do
Uh,
you think the new core will allow the use of BeoSound shape as potential rear speakers as round setup? That's already possible, anyways. So
yeah.
you can have your BeoConnect core plugged into the shape amp and be good with it, and then you can just plug in the power link. The problem is if you do the power link, you can't really have more than one amplifier slash four speakers.
Unless you have two amplifiers with four speakers on each side,
Yes, but then
or two amps and whatever variation of speakers.
you have to run a COM cable between those two amps if you want to utilize the shape with the core.
Yeah, there is a COM cable on this.
No, I know, but the COM cable goes to the first amp and then it goes to the second amp. So you'd have to have them, interconnected as well as having individual power link running into each amplifier. So
Honestly, personally, if you are thinking of doing that, why can't you have your theater, harmony, eclipse, whatever be your core? Like, unless you want must have ban on the wall, which I don't understand why that is the biggest deal. But just make a speaker group with just a shape in it if you want to use it as just a shape, right?
mhm.
That's what I personally would do. Like, I don't really see if you have it connected to a TV why you would want the core because you can make it act exactly the same.
Yes.
I mean, and especially for the like things like the theater, there's no screen that comes on, so you're not robbing any like screen life.
Yeah,
And
you're
if
not.
you do it
Yeah, you're
over a
not.
harmony, it's kind of nice that you can play your core wherever it is, and you see on your TV in the top bit in the audio mode when it's still down, right? Like what is playing in album art and volume.
I kind of wish that was available for the theater, to be honest. The metadata.
That probably went by the wayside when they decided this is a soundbar for every TV manufacturer.
But then again, I would call bullshit on that because if you want to have it interconnected properly, you still, even with the LG screen, unless you download the BNO app, it does treat it like a regular dumb screen, right?
Yeah.
So shouldn't that be a part of the app inside the LG that you download. When you download that, it'll enable the screen to momentarily show album art on the TV or what's playing. I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be cool if it did it. Have the screen on. It's an OLED, so you don't see it if it's on or not. But every time the track changes per se, just dim the album art for 5 seconds with the artist's name, and then dim it out. So, but then to each their own. I guess if you want to see the album art, not the album art, if you want to see the metadata, then you should consider buying a Halo, because that'll show you that.
And buy another product.
It's a cool remote.
Sure. I mean, mine does indeed show the metadata all the time correctly.
Yeah, it does. So,
I mean, one of the nice things
solid.
is it shows the metadata for any product it's connected to, even the old ASE ones.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, where it is in my kitchen, I walk past it all the time, and I always, oh, that, yeah, I knew that. Like, or what is this song again? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Halo. That's essentially the most I use it for these days, and some mild volume control.
Same here. It really has no other use case for me. If I were able to put the gateway in here, I would put a clock and weather on it. Because, I live in a studio and it's hard to go all the way across it to look outside. So, I could look over there. I would have to open my window for that. Well, I can't even, because there's a screen on it. So, so I would do that with the Halo.
You know it's cold when there's like a foot of snow outside.
Oh, yeah, buddy. He told me I had raised 54 tickets. I said, doing ring. What are those tickets, Paul? I guess through the B&O complaint.
Well, makes sense if you complain about something and nothing happens, and then you complain again, like, this is still shit.
Mm.
It's weird when it comes to a help desk telling you, like, yeah, you said this enough. Like, how is that ever a thing?
How does that fix the problem?
Because essentially that must be like, go away.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no reason as a help desk to say, like, well, you've mentioned this X amount of times now. Like, that's somebody's letting their personality in.
Paul, I understand that squeaky wheel gets the most grease, but sometimes, I guess, according to B&O, just break off the wheel. No more squeaking. So, which is sad. But it does happen. And I guess it really depends on whose ears your complaints fall onto in the service department, really.
Yeah. You can have a Georgie or
that's it.
Other things.
You can get as a solution, you can get a link to your own YouTube video. That's still to this day. Oh Lord,
that is an amazing situation.
That's the ultimate, bro. That's the ultimate. You can't top that. There's no way you can top that.
It beyond the irony of that happening, right? Mm-hmm. It's amazing to me that the official help desk center, whatever, redirects you to a video that is not officially theirs.
Right?
Like, think what you will of like the professional Biogrammar stores like BioLover and the lot, right? But if you have a question of your 4000C that you just bought for 10 or 15 grand or whatever, and the help desk basically shows, do it like in this BioLover YouTube channel. It's like, excuse me, what? Like, why don't you have any internal videos for this?
Yeah. There's a lot of good videos now that B&O has for training, but there's not really anything that talks about the app, or well,
But
it's
you couldn't
changing so
make
much that
it because it changes every 3 months.
yeah, there's no way you can just solidify like putting a theater on the floor stand doesn't really change much.
Also, I don't think the way B&O makes videos, right? It has to be way too polished and that sort of thing. And it probably takes a week, if not longer, for just like, oh, you scroll down, you can do volume up, and here's where the software is. Like, just that little thing probably takes a week to make.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if I would make it, it's just like, ta-da! Then post it. I wish Christian made some more videos.
Yeah.
Because those were always kind of interesting.
Yeah, Paul, I agree with you. I dislike that question from the dealers. Did you buy it here? It doesn't really matter where you bought it, but
it only starts to matter if it's out of warranty, I think.
Yeah.
But then, would you ask that if, like, how do you not know your customer? I mean, you would. I mean, I guess you can get away with saying something along the lines of, I don't remember. Did you buy it here? Like, and apologize, right? Like, is something in that sense. But like, if it's just straight up like, did you buy it here?
I think that question, honestly, had been spawned by B&O themselves when they started marketing and selling shit on Amazon. Because that I disagree with, and I don't like that people that they buy their product and then they come to the B&O dealer with it being broken, and what happens that as a dealer you need to replace it, of course, because you will, and then you're stuck with this
You
shit that you
must.
can't do anything. Yeah, you must replace it, and it's like we've had that issue as well in here that you getting all this stuff in the store and it's like, fuck man, like we have like a huge box of like dead A1s and headphones and whatnots, and then B&O wants you to send it back. So then you pay $300-400 for this box to be shipped out with all the dead products, and it goes to some company in states that they take it apart and they harvest whatever they can out of it. I don't know what you're gonna do with 25 pairs of earwax covered fucking EXs. Or like, what are you
Make
making church
candles.
candles out of it? Yeah, like it's call this. So yeah, it just makes no sense. And like I understand that, and that's where that did you buy it here question really started to come from.
Well, B&O does compensate dealers, but the compensation rate is, first of all, not negotiable, and it's not, in my opinion, very much.
Yeah, but you know what? There's only so many times you want to arm wrestle with the Popeye, right? Like,
Yeah.
and at some point, it just snaps, and you just don't do it. But it's really.
But it's different once it's actually your own customer, because you actually.
Oh, of course, like you have a relationship with that person,
Yeah.
right? So. But yeah, it is what it is with that question. But that question comes directly from having shit being sold online and people coming with broken gear to B&O. Because where else do you go if you bought it on Amazon? And it's 2-year warranty and your headphones die a year and a half into it. Well, Amazon's gonna basically reply with the middle finger, and you go
Contact
talk the 1-800
manufacturers, what they'll
number.
say after a year.
That's exactly that. So what choice do you have? Yes, you have warranty, but you have to visit a dealer, and yes, it's a pain in the ass for the dealers. I completely respect and understand it, but it's an evil that
Well, it's even worse
in
if it's
my
repairable, because then the repair time is generally put on the dealer or his installer.
well, yeah, and that's a pressure now because and like most of this cash and carry stuff isn't, but like if somebody comes with the old Violet 15 or 8 or 20 or whatnot, then yeah, for a battery swap but there's not many things that you can actually order to replace anything in. Like A1s, the burgers, you can't fix shit. The only thing that I can order
Battery swap.
is the battery and the top cover, if
Yeah.
the aluminum one. That's it. The rest is not for resale. So you can't even fix it as a dealer, so you don't even have an option. And I don't even know. It's a double-edged sword, and both edges are blunt.
So all you can do is
So
hack away. It's
just
basically an
hack
axe.
away. So it sucks, but consequently, that's the reason why the cash and carry products had increased in pricing, because dealers just gotten sick and tired of it. So now B&O's dealing with it on their own. So if you have a pair of dead headphones or whatnot, then you ship it. You started with B&O and you ship it directly to whatever that company is, and they'll ship
In
you a new
Europe, I
set.
think it's somewhere in Germany, weirdly.
Yeah. So they're starting to bypass that, but that also increased the cost, and retail price is reflecting that on the products.
Yeah.
Some upwards of 30%.
Yeah. I'm going to call it for today. Remember, if you're in
No
the
problem.
US, you can get a set of perfectly functioning BeoLab 5s for $2,500, which is fucking amazing. Just come join the Discord in the for sale section and
Go from there.
have a look. Thank you all for watching. Hope you have a great week. I'll see you soon, Stefan, and see you next week, all.
See you next week. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.